You are the one who holds with both hands the great sweet wort, brewing with honey, wine, Ninkasi. You the sweet wort to the vessel, the filtering vat which makes a pleasant sound. You place appropriately on a large collector vat. Ninkasi, the filtering vat which makes a pleasant sound. You place appropriately on a large collector vat.
At about 22, 23 degrees Celsius. So it's the perfect temperature to pitch my yeast. Anyway, so the mashing process, that's the part in the poem where they say it is you who soak the malt in a jar. The waves rise and the waves fall. I think that's part of the mashing and part of the fermentation process. Just want to clean and sanitize this lid in any way, making sure everything is sterile. I am leaving the grain bag in there because this is a filtered beer, but it is also fermented on the grain. So I'm going to ferment it like that. I'm just going to maybe add a bit more water to bring it up to the correct level. If there's too little water in your fermentation, that might also stall your fermentation process, because the yeast, although it needs sugars to eat and to thrive, it also needs a home, a suitable habitat, in which case, in this case, it is water. If there's too much sugar, the fermentation will cease. The fermentation will stall. Just going to get some water. Well, first let me take a gravity reading on this. Taking a gravity is just for my own interest, and seeing how many fermentable sugars or possible fermentable sugars there is in this wort, as well as the possible alcohol by volume that the beer might reach. As you can see, we actually came to a lovely dark caramel slash toffee color. Not really dark brown, but almost like an orangey brown. A nice deep caramel. So my gravity at this point is 1.122. Maybe I can just show you a close-up of that. I don't know, you won't be able to see. But anyway, 1.122. So we see that the starches converted actually to sugars very well, giving us gravity reading that's more equal for fermenting wine than it is beer. Sorry, the lighting is just very bad in here, and my eyes are also very poor. So I've added a couple of liters of water to the mash. I just want to take another gravity reading quickly. I did stir my wort through, so there might be a bit more particles floating around at the moment. So it did bring my gravity points down a little bit. I am now standing at about 1.080, which says it's about the gravity for making a table wine. I'm standing at about 10.5%, almost 11% alcohol by volume. This is actually quite nice like this. It's like honey, dates, and a bit of a cookie dough vibe going on there. Let me take this to the kitchen to go and wash it. So now that our wort has been cooled down to about 20 degrees Celsius, it is time to pitch the yeast. Obviously in the ancient times it would have been done by a wild fermentation. This wasn't completely sealed off, so there might have been some wild yeast actually getting in here as well. But I would like to have a control and add the brewer's yeast just to make sure that we have a very good fermentation. We've topped up our fermenter with water to the right level. The fermenter is at about 20 degrees Celsius. I'm using normal brewer's yeast. Just show you there. We are going to do this fermentation on the grain, on the malt, and then after fermentation we are going to filter it through the grain bag. So I'm just going to distribute this yeast on top. Yeah, the dry granules will hydrate themselves in the wort and start becoming active. As the mixture ferments, it will bubble and froth, alive with yeast. This is the moment that the hymn describes so vividly. You place a fermenting vat which makes a pleasant sound, appropriately on top of a collector. So I'm just going to take this sterilized, put it in place and seal it. Then I'm going to take my bubbler and bong. I just want to clean and sanitize this as well. Because this fermenter is quite full, it might overflow through the bubbler. So I'm going to put it in my fermentation station over there. Make sure that we can contain the mess. So here we are at my fermentation station. If there's any spillage, it will run through this trough into a spill bucket over there. I've got my bubbler on here and it is ready, and my temperature is at exactly, looks like 20 degrees Celsius. So everything is ready. Now we are just waiting for fermentation to kick off and waiting to hear that pleasant sound of the fermentation as the poem or the hymn describes it. You place the fermenting vat, which makes a pleasant sound, appropriately on top of a large collector vat. So I think I'm going to end this video here. In actual fact, I have an idea that I will release these videos in short format, because this is a process that goes over quite a few days. Yeah. And then at the end I can combine everything back together as the complete video. Thank you for spending time with me, and I'll see you in the next one.